All right, so we're going to talk about Asa Goldstock, and that's going to be here. So I don't care if you're a boy or a girl. I'm going to talk about a girl goalie. So if you got boy goalies and you leave right now, I would reach through this camera and slap you in the head. All right. So this is a very important thing to cover. All right. And why can't I see who wrote me? Anyway, I don't get it. All right. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to pull up on my screen if I can. Oh, there it is. Look at me go. All right. So Boston College played Syracuse last week. I don't know if you guys saw it or heard about it. It was a big deal. Get my face out of my logo. All right. There we go. Or maybe I go over here. Oh, look at me go. I'm switching sides. Okay. So Asa Goldstock is a phenomenal goalie for Syracuse, senior for Syracuse, played a fantastic game, and Charlotte North of Boston College is the greatest goal scorer in women's lacrosse history. So the first thing where this conversation needs to start is not where she was standing, okay, but the fact of like who she was facing. And so there's a lot of people, and I should start by this. For my Lacrosse Goalie University members, I did another video on this topic in Lacrosse Goalie University just for you guys, because I went through some of the most toxic comments from coaches about this particular play. And so, but I wanted to do that in a private forum. I'm not going to do that here. So I wanted for our members, it's there, because I was just like, some of the coaching comments were just horrific. And who's that? Hey, I just did online learning with 5-year-olds. That's fantastic. I don't know. I can't see who that is, but who is that? It's not going. I can't see it. All right. Anyway, sorry. Okay. So Asa Goldstock, it was fantastic. And so what I'm going to do here is play this forward. Sorry, I got a lot of windows open here. Okay. So this first thing, I'm not going to go fast forward to here. All right. So this was the 8-meter shot. This was like, it's 12-9 in the national championships with 16 minutes. It's at the 16-minute mark. And we get set up for this 8-meter. So for those of you guys that can see the screen on Instagram, I apologize. You're not going to be able to see me. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can see it, or my Facebook page, you can see it there. Or if you're a member of the group, you can see it in the group as well. Okay. Hey, Ben in Australia. Love it. I see you, buddy. Welcome from Melbourne, Australia. That's awesome. We are international. Love it. Okay. So this is the setup. So ball side right, kind of at the line between side right and top right, and it's Charlotte North. Damn it, like she's a stud or studette in this case. And I'm just gonna play this through once, and I'll just show it to you live, and hopefully this clicks through. I don't know if you can hear the audio. I'll talk about this damn cradle in a second. Okay, so there was the play. All right. So, and there's a couple angles here that I'll rewind here for a second. So, first thing I want to talk about is the sticks in women's lacrosse. I just feel like it's gotten out of hand. I really do, because what's happening here is the amount of cradling that she's able to do is just mind blowing, right? So. I mean, she's cradling just like a boy would, yeah, she's cradling just like the guys can. Like, and as a goalie, I'm trying to read that and pick that up. That's really hard. Okay, so now let's talk about where Asa stands. So first hash, yeah, it's, yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that; it was blocked, but you've got it. So. Whatever. You know what, Adam, I'll be totally honest. There's sometimes things in the girls' game that I don't even try to understand anymore. I just don't. And so regardless of where this shot is coming from, for all you guys that got the girls' goalie and got all his rules down, I don't begin to know them all anymore. I've stopped. I just want to stop the ball. So let's talk about that. So a couple things here. If I play this, if I can stop this, the FPS on ESPN's clip is not good. This shot is going to come from about here. All right. So the head of the stick is going to hit about this mark as I write it on the screen. Okay. So what we need to understand is, okay, we are playing in relationship to the ball where the ball's released. However, what happens before the ball gets to that point is important. So if that stick goes from low to high, high to low, like if it's on the same plane, that all matters. And so in this case, it's pretty much just a straight sidearm release. So we kind of know what level that ball is going to reach us at. All right. So what happens here is, let's just talk about where she set up. So I love this. I'll just start by saying this. I just love this because when you put the math to this, and unfortunately, I've been trying this for years, but I haven't been able to find anybody who can help me. The argument that a goalie should stand on close to goal line because it gives them more time to react to the ball. That is true. There is more time to react to the ball. However, you're basically giving the shooter everything they can possibly shoot at based on your body size, right? So if you are a slender build, athletic build, then you are going to take up less surface area in the cage than if you are stocky, right? If you've got some extra, girth, it's going to help you. It's just taking up surface area. So there would be a number for that, right? There would be a percentage of net covered by said goalie. Okay. Now, every other goalie in every sport plays the angle game. All right. And also plays the depth game. So what that means is if I'm an ice hockey goalie and there's a shot coming from the point, I am stepping out as far as I want to step with respect to any sort of pass or deflection that may be made by something that I can't get a stick or my body on. So that's for ice hockey. Same thing goes for field hockey. Same thing goes for handball. Same thing goes for soccer. A goalie will come out to a point where they are cutting down the angle, but they're not going to get chipped over or shot around or things like that. Okay. And so, yes, Joey Turner, great point. Dylan Ward, who is Canadian, has this style. But I can also list other goalies like Brett Queener, who would come out of the play. Blaze Reardon has done it. The idea is that I am challenging you for a couple things. So one, if I'm bigger in the cage, so Scotty Rogers is another name that most of you guys know. If I'm a bigger presence in the cage, right? If I'm Darius Miller out in Colorado, right? The idea is that if I'm a bigger presence in the cage, the shooter there's a couple things. I am eliminating options for that shooter. So a couple of years ago, there was a U.S. lacrosse seminar, and coach, I can't remember the coach. Thank God, I've forgotten it. It's been so painful. But the coach was talking about if the goalie moved from post to post, that the goalie should step back. Their step should be behind the goal line as they then come out to the other post. And I was like, that's just to me showed how asinine lacrosse goalie coaching has gotten in some pockets, because the idea that you have a better chance of saving the ball if you stand behind the goal line makes no sense. Okay, just none. So what I love about what Asa Goldstock has done here is she has come out, and now based on where this ball is going to come, and I think with a bit of a scouting report on Charlotte North, she likes to rip it. And so what Asia's done here is she's placed her left foot on a line, and it's probably too far, to be honest, right? But what it's done is that it has filled the space to offer left hip. Now, what I don't like is the vertical stick position, and I'm not going to be able to draw it well enough here, so I'm not going to try. Right, so there's where that shot's coming. Okay, so that left foot's a little bit outside the line, but she is at the top of the crease. She's the biggest she can make herself within the rules, because if she comes out any further, right, she gets shooting space violation. Right, so now as a goalie, by taking these options away, she has now forced the shooter to be more accurate, because the shots that the places on the cage where Charlotte North can hit are not as big, right? Now, if Asa Goldstock weighed 300 pounds, she would be taking up even more of the nets. But let me talk about some other things. What about sweatpants? What about shorts? All the goalie dads out there who play, like Mike Simmons, I know you can probably vouch for this. Mike Simmons played with sweatpants, but when you played with shorts, how many goalies out there have ever made a save where the ball bounced and caught the back of your shorts and ended up like in your butt, right? Or the top of your butt cheek, right? Because your shorts caught the ball. That is a valid goaltending tactic. And in the game of lacrosse, nobody really talks about that much except me. Just this idea of like, think about this. Patrick Waugh of the Montreal Canadiens completely changed the sport of ice hockey by increasing the width of the padding he wore and putting gussets in his pants. And Joey Turner, his first varsity save was with the crack of his butt with his shorts. Okay, right, but it's a valid thing, right? So when I see goalies, especially in the women's game, wearing like short shorts, I'm like, you're not trying to be a goalie. You're trying to look cute. So let's be practical and go, I'm trying to make more saves. What can I do within the rules to do that or to push the rules? So here, she's at the top of the crease. Okay. So looking bigger in the cage takes more space away. So sweatpants, a bigger jersey, a bigger helmet. I mean, seriously, as a goalie, you could wear like one of those mega helmets if you wanted to do that. All right. So the biggest gloves you could find. All right. So that's something to think about here. So what she's done by being top of the crease is, yes, she's minimizing the distance between her and the shooter, but what she's maximizing is the square footage she takes up in front of that goal. And that is important. And what I would love is to find somebody who can help me do the math on that. Because what we would do is we would take the time and distance lost, right, by standing at the top of the crease. Now, again, this is Charlotte North. Your goalie is not getting shot on by Charlotte North, right? So the time and distance that your goalie has is actually less distance, but you would have more time because the ball's not coming as fast. It's math, folks. And it's not Common Core math bullshit. It's just math. Think about it. All right. So here she goes. Then what she's doing as a goalie is she's now hedging her bets. Now, I believe that the lacrosse goalie, the current level of lacrosse, so Mike Simmons for you, for me, for other goalies that played at a high level when we were younger, right? We all agree that the game of lacrosse has gotten faster. The athletes have gotten more athletic since about 2001 on. The shots are coming at a faster speeds at younger ages. So the goalies then, what I believe is that's raised the level of complexity for the field lacrosse goalie position where it's just too damn high. Right. And so a goalie trying to treat everything around their body evenly. So what I mean by that is like, okay, well, this shot could go stick side high. It could go off stick hip. It could go between my legs. It could go off my right knee. Like that's too much. Okay. It's almost like that example. This hit me where a lion tamer comes at the lion with a chair because the lion is overwhelmed by the four legs of the chair. Right. And it stuns the lion for a second. And then what happens? The lion tamer cracks the whip on the backside of the lion. The lion goes like whatever and goes where the tamer needs to go. Right. That's what happens there. And I just believe that for most goalies, they are just overwhelmed by all the options. So now what Asa Goldstock is doing here is what I call offset goaltending. She has placed herself deliberately as far to her off stick side as she can. Now, I'm not going to get into this here, but I've argued that I believe the lacrosse goalie of the future is going to switch hands. This, to me, is an opportunity to do that because when the ball is being shot, now, again, people think like, oh, if it's shot the far side, it's got longer distance. No. The way the goalie, there's a plane that the goalie must get to, and that plane is at a 90-degree angle. It's perpendicular to the trajectory of the ball. The goalie is there. So saying that, oh, the ball, it's got more distance travel to far side, that's not true. All right. So there's actually a plane there that the goalie is trying to defend. And when the ball crosses that plane, regardless of how far the goal is behind her, it's going in. Okay. So what you have to understand here is that what the goalie has done in this situation is reduced her options as to where she has to move. Okay. So what she is giving here is basically off stick high, right? She's giving off stick hip. She's giving stick side hip, stick side low, and she's giving. It's funny now that I say this, it's like she's giving all the same options are there, but as a goalie, you kind of know she's either going off stick high, between the legs, or stick side hip. She's not going to go off stick hip because that's too close, right? I mean, if she hit it, she hits it, right? But that's where I believe the lacrosse goalie of the future, as they stand out, they're going to make that save to their off stick hip, not with their stick, but with their elbow, right? They're going to make it with their glove, right? They're going to take that with the body, and that's going to take away that save and the demand to get that stick there, okay? If a shot goes 5-hole, she should drop like a hockey goalie would butterfly. But is she going to want to do that with no protection on her knees? Maybe if she's like ridiculously tough, which I know she is, but you're going to do that on game day maybe once and hope you're not limping for the rest of the game. But you sure as heck aren't going to train that as a young goalie because you're not protected enough. And that's where I think, and I've been saying this for years, that lacrosse goalies need to be more protected from the knee down, right? Not just, it's, a lot of people are like, okay, hip and shin, that's cool. Yeah. And the knee, my knees are free. Like I get to run and it's really fast. But no, you're not going to drop in a butterfly to make a save off your kneecaps, and which you should. Right. And then the other option here is to her stick side hip and below. Okay. So now the shot comes here, and so the choice is she goes stick side low, and what ends up happening, and I'm sorry about the FPS here on this. Oh wait, hold up. I know I can't do this. I can do this. I could do it. Hold on. Wait. Oh my God, this could be amazing. All right. Oh, look at me go, guys. All right. There it is. All right. So one thing that happens here is Charlotte North, as she shoots this ball, she steps a little bit to her left, which changes the trajectory slightly. Okay. It's like she moves over a little bit, and that changes the trajectory of the ball, which makes Asia's left foot now very out of position. Ever see that? Right? So there's the ball, and that left foot is now out of position. I don't want to waste anything as a goalie. I don't want to waste any surface area out of the pipes. So that's what I want people. I want you to just be aware of that. Okay, and this all happens in a heartbeat. Okay, so now that shot comes through. Okay, that shot comes through, and now what Asia does is she's very strong on her hips. Okay, so a lot of goalies, especially the girls, they're not able to really move, but you'll see she rotates her hips, but she hasn't moved much. Like she hasn't moved her torso towards the bottom. And I don't think there's time. I really don't. I believe that the wider base in this instance allows a goalie to have a better, what I call a foundation for rotation, right? What's the rotation? The rotation is the stick. The rotation is moving the stick quickly. It's like a golfer hitting a drive versus a wedge, right? A golfer will have a wider foot position. A golfer will have a wider foot position to drive because they get more club head speed. Okay. Whereas if they're going to chip the ball, they're going to bring those feet together. Right. So now, but what happens here is as you see Asia move, there's no move into that space. Okay. And that ball goes, I believe it goes about hip high. All right. If anybody was there live and they can chime in on that, they can let me know. All right. But let me just make this even smaller to see if I can forward this even more. All right. So even though she's moving, she's not moving into that space. All right. Can I do this? Yeah, here we go. This is going to be really slow. All right. So you guys can see that? All right. So there's the ball. So she's there. So her stick head is on plane. And so what I mean by that is when people argue like, oh, the goalie needs more time to react to the ball. That's not true. And this is proof. So you have the greatest shooter in history. This is probably one of the hardest shots ever shot in a women's national final. And you've got one of the best goalies in the game today. And she's fabulous. All right. But so she is on plane before the ball is there. But she's probably guessed a bit. All right. And that's fine. Right. Because I believe the benefit of being out this far outweighs the fact of staying back in the cage. Right. She doesn't need that time. But what happens is she overplays it and she goes down like she's covering 5-hole, but she doesn't go that low. She doesn't need to go that low. And then she brings the stick head back up. And by the time she does that, the ball is out of position. Okay. Right. So that ball goes right inside the post. Right inside the post. I hope you guys can see this okay. All right. So there it is. It's right by her knee. Okay. So basically what's happened here is that I believe that with a better protected goalie over a longer period of time, what I mean by that is like years of training, is that a goalie is going to move into this position with more confidence, right? And if you talk to a goalie like this, she's like, well, I'm plenty confident. I'm not afraid of the ball. I get it. You're not. But we've just missed out on years and years of training where we can make this save much more efficiently, okay, and not be guessing, okay. So because you see the false move, she covers 5-hole. Now if I'm going to train a goalie release, well, why wouldn't I train a goalie to just butterfly into this spot and then take everything else with the stick? And that's what I would do. All right, a goalie who understands how to drop to their knees and they're protected. The other thing here is that the kick save, watch her leg, it comes forward. It comes forward, but it's not an efficient use of movement into the space where this ball is going. All right. So that's something that needs to be addressed. All right. So all in all, there's a little bit of a guess here. I just love the setup. I love where she is. I think it's the most aggressive play. And really there's other, I'm going to show you this clip for a second. Back here, I think it would have benefited her in this situation. So Charlotte North comes behind. Bouncer. So right there, that's where, in my opinion, if she had actually been more aggressive, so see how flat she is, right? So see how flat, see where the goalie is, see how close to goal line she is. This bounce shot, if she's out, this bounce shot can't go in the net because it hits body, right? So she kind of leans around. There's this weird little cross in front of the goalie, and then this is where I think that we would benefit from the goalie being the stick in her left hand. All right. And then she shoots over the defender. Right. But see how deep the goalie is here. All right. I want that goalie out of step. And so because what happens? She spikes it in front of, like, on the crease, right? On the crease. You see the dirt there, or those little rubber pellets, right? There it is. And unfortunately, this is not a very confident move by the goalie. This is what I call for my Lacrosse Goalie University members, my rule of thirds. Okay. All right. So this is where if she was further out at the ball this ball hits her and doesn't go in the net. But again, I get it. It's a confusing shot. It's close. But this is where I think by teaching goalies that, you should stand back and have more time to react to the ball, you miss it anyway. Whereas if you're out, you're actually going to make contact with your body. So a couple questions here. Mom from Boston writes, for someone who's had 2 knee replacements, you always want to protect your knees. Yeah, Mom, but when we're a goalie, we're not thinking like that. We're just going to take one for the team and get our metal parts later. Brendan Cullinan, Monday morning QBing because this was awesome. We all think she just declared herself too early. She telegraphed to get opponent what she was going to buy, not changing depth right before the whistle. Yes, true to her opponent. Okay. Ben Stone from Australia writes, it is great to have a play like this to examine. It is only going to help younger goalies. Ben, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I just that's what we're doing here, right? Changing the game one goalie at a time. That's always been my motto in this sport. I'm just astounded that people just can't think through this, because for the coaches that say, "Oh, just stand back, it gives you more time," it's just math, dude. Like it's math and physics. So that's really important. Okay, so that's really important to understand. Okay, so thanks, Ben. I really appreciate that comment. Okay, so I want people to be so. I joked I should make a sweatshirt for this, but if you go to a coach, here's my things that I think we need to lose in the sport of lacrosse. Okay, jumping rope, juggling, Hiko sticks, any sort of like reaction ball drill, ladder drills, comments about standing on the goal line. All right, that gives you more reaction to more time to react to the ball. That you should wear less equipment because it makes you move faster. Any other sorts of, like, what else am I missing? But we should make I should make a sweatshirt out of this and say no, stop. So when you hear that, going back to our first question of tonight, like when you hear that a goalie, like that a camp or clinic is doing any of those things, just ask yourself, like, does that really serve my athlete anymore? Does that really make sense to me? Because the when you just put some critical thinking to it, it quickly falls apart. All right, so I want people to understand that. Okay, so Ben, I really appreciate that comment. Thank you. Okay, changing the game one goalie at a time, man. Lacrosse Goalie University. Send your friends. All right, don't tell your enemies. Okay, all right, guys, and going for interceptions from behind X to the list. Thank you. That's fabulous. That's a good one, Ben. I appreciate it, and you're totally right. Okay, yeah, because there's actually that's really funny you mentioned that, because on this clip right here, watch this. All right, this is just a small thing. It's not huge, but the Goldstock goes to face the back of the cage here. And these are just extra steps, in my opinion, not necessary. Yes. Is there a girl out front who's wide open right now? Yes. But they're like, whatever. It's a coverage issue. It's not a goalie issue. It pulls the goalie out of position. Okay. Right there. Right there. The goalie, see what happens is the goalie is basically stressed out at this point because they're put in this position. Coaches said, Gary Gates said, hey, we want you to cut down this pass. All right. Well, so now this pass goes from basically X, a little bit back left, to side right, right? To pipe right. And this pulls the goalie out of position because she's going to try to cut that pass off, and it's nowhere near her, right? So that's this. Don't teach your goalies to do this. It's just an absolute waste. And you see it fleshing out the D1 at the D1 level, right? Now that pass, now she's got to come all the way across, right? All the way across to get back in position. And all that movement, while it looks like she's in position, she's not there as early as we would just like. And it's just a little bit panicked and things like that. And that's really unfortunate. Also, number 12 from Boston College is like, dude, Charlotte, give me the ball. I got a better shot. Right. All right. So, yeah, defensive work here is just not good. Okay. Just not good at all. This all starts with 26 getting caught topside there. Yeah, just don't like it. All right. Okay, everybody. Question here. Okay, so who's that? How would you address those types of things with a program? Are you talking about like your travel team program, like what they're teaching? I can't tell who that is. So let me just see if I can cover this. How would you address that? Who's writing that one? Why can't I see you guys? Why can't I see who's writing this? Get out. Huh. All right. Sorry, guys. I can't see who wrote that comment. The jump. Oh, the jump rope and Hiko sticks. How would I address that? Juggling. Or are you making a list? Okay, sorry. We got a couple questions here. I'm a little unclear on some of them. Okay, so how would you address those types of things with a program? So if it's better to do it on the front end and ask the program, like, hey, what do you do? And because I believe that we are gone are the days when we hey, Steve Bentley. So are you talking about let's say you're going to a travel team to to then um and they're using those types of things. Well, you know, I believe that we've had enough bad coaches across all sports now where the idea that you're going to hand your kid over to a program and say, "Thanks, coach," right? Take care of my boy, take care of my girl. Those days are kind of done. Um, I want for your goalie to go to a program, and for you as a parent paying for this stuff, go like, all right, what are we work? What does this club stand for? What are we doing? And this is where I speak very strongly over the fact we need less. Um, we would that that you have a um, you have a right as a consumer to know what you're paying for. Right now, I know sometimes you're in a different. You might have it's the only travel team that you can choose, and you're kind of at an option. This is kind of for a travel team. I would have an expectation that they have a legit goalie coach on staff. Well, for my Lacrosse Goalie University members, when you see my video on Asa Goldstock in there, you'll realize that you can be on a legit club team and have really bad goalie coaching from a legit goalie coach. So you just have to be. So that's why you're here, right? Like that's every week I'm just trying to help you guys go like, all right, what should we be looking for, and what do I think is just really something that's a waste of time, and then you decide. Because the question is like, is it a waste of time or can it hurt your goalie? And a lot of times, things like Hiko sticks and reaction balls and those things to me, they can actually hurt the development of your goalie. All right, not that they're going to get injured, but it's just retarding their development. Okay, and so that's I think something that you need to understand. Um, um, Jackson Stemets, hey, you recommended Mr. Wonderful. It was a great service and good stringing. Thanks. No worries, man. Also, I love Redbeard Lax. I should get him on here because he's also a dude. Um, Question: the over the defense bounce shot got Ethan 2 times in rapid succession in the bad game he had earlier this week. Ugh, it happened so quickly. Clearly not collegiate finals level shots, but still. So that's a thing just to cover here. The idea of bounce shots. Goalies don't spend nearly enough time working on bounce shots. Coaches don't spend time. It's like the last thing that a goalie works on, and it never gets worked on. Right? If you map out the development of your goalie over years, and you think of every time, every warm up that they ever had, how did it start? Stick side high, off stick high, stick side hip. Oh, we've run out of time, so we'll take a couple shots off stick low. No bouncers today. We'll get them tomorrow, and you never do. If you map that out in one of those little like data graphs over the course of a goalie's lifetime, you would have this ridiculous amount of shots stick side high and like nothing low, and then you would have nothing of bounce shots of comparability. If you did one thing with your goalies and that was start every practice with bounce shots, you'd be better off. Okay. Redbeard is awesome. Okay. Thank you. And then also, yeah, cool, good stuff. All right, juggling, jump rope. All right. Oh, and I had a question on Instagram. I'm going to try to get back to here. Let me just see if I can cover this real quick. I don't think I'm going to get to the defensive question for tonight. Dylan asks, let me just type this in the banner so I can keep track of this. Would I rather have a travel team goalie or a homegrown goalie? Okay, so would I rather have a travel team goalie or a homegrown goalie? That's an interesting question, Dylan. I want a goalie who's a competitor. And over the years, I would much rather have a goalie who's keen and wants to be in the cage than a goalie who is there, and they've been a bit of a prima donna, just because of their. So I don't think I would necessarily need a travel team goalie or homegrown goalie, because you can have a travel team goalie that comes in that can stop balls, right? It's all about ball stopping ability. It's not just necessarily where they learned, right? I don't think when I look at goalies and I hear where they come from, like today, I did 2 breakthrough calls with new lacrosse goalies, and they're from different areas of the country, 2 vastly different areas of the country. And what's fascinating about that is that one has come from an area where they've been getting a lot of shots and a lot of work, but no direction. But they've gone out and gotten their own direction. And then this other goalie is getting a lot of shots and with like a legit goalie coach. And man, the goalie that's just keen and wants to learn and has been out there learning, and then can have a good conversation with me or someone else. They usually develop the quickest, right? So I hope that makes sense. Okay. All right, guys. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening wherever you are. Do me a favor, hit the like button if you like this, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. When you're ready, head on over to lacrossegoalieuniversity.com/coaching so I can work with you and your goalie. And while you're at it, check out athletespecific.com to learn more about mental performance and high performance. You may not know this, but I work with athletes in a variety of sports. Lacrosse is my love, but man, I love athletes and the families who support them. So head on over to athletespecific.com, check it out. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.